Do you actually think Tottenham Hotspur are getting relegated? Genuinely.
I think the only way to answer this is, are there 3 worse teams than them? Wolves are worse than them. Well, they just points-wise, they're going down. Burnley will go down. At this moment in time, West Ham and Forest are better than Spurs.
I think they're pound for pound. No, not pound for pound. I think they're right now, on current form, the worst team in the league.
Well, wasn't there a stat that they've lost, since the beginning of last season, they've lost more than Wolves?
I think Burnley and Wolves are harder games than Tottenham right now, right today, as they stand. I genuinely mean that.
I know we're an Arsenal podcast and that, but it's quite sad.
Why is it sad?
It's not sad.
No. Let's apply some genuine, actual, as unbiased as possible analysis to this. No, let's do it. So, they are crippled with injuries, and I do feel for them from that perspective, but that's about it.
Yes, guys, welcome back to the Knockabout on TDK Plus. We are back. We had a little hiatus last week while James was in South. Am I allowed to say now?
Yeah.
You were banning me from saying it then.
No, I was banning on nearly revealing the flight I was on.
That was it.
I was just like, some things I can keep to myself.
James is back from the wedding in South Africa. Did you have a nice time?
I had a great time. It was funny. There were 2 Arsenal games while I was out there. I got on the flight like 20 minutes after the Brighton game finished. So I was sort of stressed, tired, delighted that we won in City. I mean, I had so many emotions, but ultimately I was like, just get me on the plane.
Yeah.
And then the Mansfield game, I was drunk at a wine tasting.
Don't tell me you watched the Mansfield game at a wedding.
No, I was at a wine tasting. I didn't watch it. I just checked my phone.
You know, sometimes at weddings, like you see people like watching games, and it's like a Champions League game or like a bit of like fairs. But sometimes you see it, and it's like you're watching like an FA Cup third round. Like, come on. No, if you were at my wedding, and Arsenal were playing Grimsby in the third round of the FA Cup, and you were watching that while we were doing the speeches, I think I'd be quite annoyed.
No, I mean, look, if there's a game on and we're at a wedding, I just don't go to the wedding. So
I just wouldn't be there.
So I just wouldn't find myself in that position. I'd say, look, I'll see you at see you at your first dance.
The old Jordan Peterson trick.
I'll pop over for dinner. I'll be there.
I just wouldn't be in that situation.
I'll just be there when I need to be. But
Will's back as well. Hi, Will.
Will.
Will, people loved your takes on the I think the one show where we've all been together so far.
I was shocked.
Yeah, they loved you.
Have you got a mic on you now?
Start TDK++.
Yeah.
Have you got a mic on you right now?
I haven't, no.
Oh, are we getting Will Cam set up?
I think at some point we should get Will Cam.
MJ will boost the audio for this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I edit it and I boost it, but that's fine, mate. Take credit away from me. We're here to talk the Bayer Leverkusen game.
Yeah, loads of goals to get into.
Loads of stuff. Really interesting stuff to talk about. I'm really glad we're here to talk that game and not the PSG game or the Real Madrid game.
Yeah.
The Saka sub,
the Atletico game.
Arteta, some tactics, the normal stuff. Are we boring?
I'll throw it back at you. Do we still care? Notice I framed that as, do we still care? Because do you know what I'm bored of? I'm bored of talking about whether we're boring.
Yeah.
No, I've really got to that.
Yeah.
I was thinking a lot about what we're going to talk about coming up. I've done loose cannons. Well, we talk about the game in quite a lot of detail, like in particular players, moments, whatever. And on my way here, I sort of realised something from my little trip to South Africa. And maybe when you're...
found himself.
Oh, yeah. It's amazing what I've learned about myself in the last week. Maybe when you're on holiday, things just feel better. So it's not fair analysis right now.
Right.
But I will just say this. I think one little thing I kind of took away from that is and I think we said this on the last pod 2 weeks ago, we live and breathe every single moment of every single Arsenal game. We literally, we physically almost head every ball that comes into the box because you're kind of clear it, okay, now it's the throw, go back to him. Every single moment we are living and stressing throughout. And the reality is, when you're making your way through an airport through security and you're grabbing a Wagamama's and you're worrying about catching your flight and you're watching the game a bit more like this, it doesn't feel as bad. Like, honestly. And I wasn't as stressed. Even though I still factually knew it was 1-0 in the 93rd minute and we'd been terrible.
Yeah.
Didn't feel as bad. Like, I wonder whether we're too this comes from.
Sorry to interrupt, but have you discovered that there is a real world out there?
Two Arsenal podcasters discover there is such a thing as real life.
No, but I think I've discovered that like. I don't know. I don't know what this podcast goes. What does it matter?
yeah.
What
we might
does it
be
matter,
boring.
really?
No, but I think.
Do you get what I'm trying to go with
I
this?
100% hear it, and I do think I think perspective is what I'm hearing, and
that's where I'm trying to come from. And basically, in a week in which we've been pretty dross for 3 away games in a row, we extended our lead at the top of the table. We didn't lose in the Champions League where everybody else got battered.
We got through to the FA Cup.
We got through to the FA Cup quarter-final, got a good draw, where a lot of top sides aren't in it anymore. At what point, I'm not saying this is true, by the way. I'm not even saying this is my opinion. I just have to ask a question. At what point do we stop and just go, all right, what do you want? Do we want to be them? Do we want to be the others? I'm
trying to think of a non-clumsy analogy about something that's really painful, but you just have to go through anyway. I haven't got anything. But basically, it's kind of that. It's just, maybe it is a bit boring, but it's working. It's the dentist.
You have to get your teeth checked. It's never comfortable. You never enjoy it. It's quite boring. You're awake throughout the whole thing, and it's just a little uncomfortable, sometimes a bit painful. But you've got to do it.
Something I'll give us credit for a little bit, maybe, is, the pitch against Mansfield. No, the English teams in general in the Champions League. What was it?
So Newcastle drew with Barcelona.
Newcastle drew with Barca. PSG beat Chelsea.
5-2.
Spurs got absolutely whacked, and City got whacked.
Yeah, and Liverpool lost 1-0 at Galatasaray.
And Liverpool lost 1-0 against Galatasaray.
And it should have been 2, really, or could have been.
And I do think, especially at this stage of the season with the schedule, like, I don't know, maybe we just expect too much. I'm not. We're going to get into our issues or whatever, but maybe we're just expecting too much at this stage of the season. Thing is, I finish a game and I'm like, the problem is you finish a game and you just spent 90 minutes doing this.
Yeah.
So obviously you come out of it going like, God's sake, but like, you're right. You are right. Like, you are right. And in the context and the wider, broader scheme of things.
Well, but I just mean.
It's boring.
Yes, but I'm not trying to tell people or anyone in this room that we are good. Or that like,
but we're top of everything.
Yeah, but or should I say good to watch or entertaining or that you should be enjoying this right now. But I think I'm past complaining. I've done so much of it this season. I've talked about, well, if we bring Saka and Eze on the inside, if you go Havertz and Gyökeres together, or if Ødegaard's given freedom to drop, or if Rice is more the 6, or if White is playing instead of Timber. I still saw Timber being platformed to be the main threat more than any other player yesterday. But it's what he wants to do, and he's got us competing in all 4 competitions. Don't get me wrong, if it all goes... You might have to... I don't know if you have to mute that. Thank you.
No, MJ will do it, apparently. I think what... Yeah, two things. One, it's fine until if we drop out of a competition or we lose or we drop points or whatever. Say we lost against Bayer, it would be a car crash and people would be fuming, and I can't defend it too much because of the way we're playing. This is the issue: is you lose so much kind of like, what's the word? Like, not credibility. It's like
well,
it's like money in the bank, basically. It's like,
credit.
It's like if I haven't even enjoyed it and you haven't got a result, then that's a problem.
Yeah.
And the second thing is, I hope once we cross a line, we begin to see something different. We're going to talk about the tactics in a second and what we're actually doing. But like, I hope once we cross a line, I don't think it'll be this season, but next season, I want to begin to see better performances in general, because like, football, we have to remember, is an entertainment thing. At the minute I understand it, I'm not like, we are where we are. We're in all 4 competitions. We have to get over a line. Okay. But I am bored watching Arsenal at the minute. I'm sorry. I can't sit here and lie and go, no, I found the half space. I don't like. I'm just sat there like, it's so dull.
I 100% agree. Totally and utterly agree. What if I flip it and said, are we playing good football for what the current climate of football requires?
Yeah, maybe 100%. Maybe
like a depleted Real Madrid just destroyed Man City. Like how. City started that game quite well. Doku was making things happen. There were some shots at goal. They looked quite lively. They got murdered. When do we stop and go, well, we don't want to be that? No, Chelsea were competitive with PSG.
I think like the guys who went to go see that game last night, they could probably say to you, yeah, I'm willing to get over a line because this team needs to get over a line. I'm willing to put up with that. but to travel all the way out to Germany, go see that. And people think this is privilege or whatever. I don't care. I'm not even talking about the effectiveness or whatever. I'm talking about the pure entertainment.
Yeah.
And just for me personally, you may agree, you may disagree, I do not find it as entertaining at the moment. It's effective. Agree. It's useful. It's probably going to get us over the line, blah, 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 and I will celebrate when it all happens. But my point is, I think especially next season, whatever the current climate of the football, I want to see better performances.
Well, yeah, and look, I'd like to see them from next week because I wonder how sustainable it always is. Would we be surprised if on Tuesday night we went 120 minutes against Leverkusen, took it to penalties and got knocked out? We wouldn't be surprised. That would feel very Arsenal, actually.
But weirdly, this season, I don't agree. I think we'll just get it done. That's the way it feels about this team, which is amazing. And by the way, we'll be sat here on the knockabout next week going, we're brilliant. Do you know what I mean? It's just the ups and downs of football. But performances in general, I'd say especially since the beginning of the year, not great.
No, I agree. I'm not sure who in the world is offering me what I think we need. So you could say Bayern Munich, for example. We destroyed Bayern Munich. So, okay, we were better form back then, but there's nothing to say that we couldn't, replicate that in some way if we were to meet them again. I think we could only meet them in the final, couldn't we? And we probably wouldn't play that way if we played them again in the final. But Barcelona just drew at Newcastle. Newcastle, they haven't been great. Your team's been going to St James's Park and make things happen. Brentford won recently. City destroyed them the other day. And Barcelona really struggled. For all the tech and quality, Joe Linton was like, running all over them. So it's like, Atletico Madrid, I think I've had a bit of an indifferent season. I know Tottenham have been poor, but 4-0 after 20 minutes. Chelsea were actually Chelsea were in the game against PSG and then crumbled because of game management. That's something we're actually quite good at. When it comes to that Leverkusen game, we were so boring. But I heard a lot of, Arsenal were lucky to escape with a draw. No, we weren't. Well, Leverkusen weren't great. No. They really weren't. I think they had a 10, 15-minute period in that second half. They scored, then they moved the ball nicely. In the end, it was a case of if Martinelli actually scores instead of hitting the crossbar, if Timber doesn't head it over the bar, look, the penalty, does Madueke look for it? Sure, maybe. Is there contact? Sure. Is it very little? I agree. But we've seen them given all the time. So I don't think anyone can say Arsenal have been gifted a win there. I think he earned that moment and we've walked away with a point. Not a point, a draw. I'm not saying I'm happy, but if I was saying how I think I really feel, I would just be saying the same stuff I've said for weeks and weeks and weeks. It's not going to change. So I just need to look at it differently now.
How much are they paying you?
I don't know. I'm paid by the club now. I don't know. Maybe I'm shattered from travel. Yeah. I have no idea. Maybe that's what it is.
This isn't happening.
But do you get what I'm saying? Is
there
not a little part of that? What's the point of us sitting here now with a tactics board? Thank you, JLA. What is the point in us sitting here and going, well, I think if we did more this, actually, we should try. What's the point? What's the point in anyone hearing it? Arteta's not going to do it. He's not going to do it. And also, and I said this on Loose Cannons, if you had a red button right here, it said press it, and you're going to get Saka on the inside more, and Eze will start off the left, and Havertz will start games, and White will overlap more, and you're going to get a back three build-up, and Calafiori's going to do what he does. If you could smash that red button, would you?
No.
You wouldn't.
No.
You would because it's ripping up the playbook. Yeah. It's like, why would we change what's got us to this point? Yeah. While I agree, it is killing me inside.
And this is my point, is that I, as you say, if there was a red button, I'm not sure I'd press it. Until next season. That's my point, is that we just, I want us to get over a line and then let's see.
Oh, but if we don't, but this is where I'm at the extremes now, where it's like, if we don't get over the line, I would like a new manager. Like that's I'm just sort of sat back, just let's see what happens. But if we don't get it done, we'll have a lot to say. We'll absolutely have a lot to say because something that doesn't look like Arsenal will have trumped us.
Clip that well.
Well, but I said that when we drew to Wolves. I said the football is so difficult to stomach unless at the end of it you're kind of laughing at your rivals and saying, "Look what we did."
And we currently are. That's the thing, is we currently are. The position that we're in, look what's happening at Spurs, 100%. So yeah, I know it's hard in football discourse to hold two things at the same time, but this is a classic case. It's I'm frustrated and I don't like the performances, and also I will continue to support the team because it's probably the right thing to do. Before we go to the tactics board, Saka got subbed.
Yeah, good.
I thought it was interesting. Someone in the comments will go, "You idiot, happened in 2024 in February." Probably Rohan. What did you make of that? And I think it was quite a significant moment.
Yeah.
It felt quite significant when it happened. I don't know why sometimes things there's like an image that you go, oh, I don't think I've seen this before. I think it was a bit of a step up from Mikel.
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
I thought it was really great. Now, I want to caveat by saying, to those who watch my player ratings, my match reaction, loose cannons, I appreciate that by saying what I'm about to say again.
Promoting yourself.
Yeah. And you
That's
know,
all he does.
Yeah, links in the description below.
Collaboration on the channel.
Yeah. But I think it's really important. You know, when sometimes people maybe hear your voice 2-3 times, they think you're like hammering a player. And because I was quite critical of Saka in the player ratings on loose cannons, I don't want to come across as like just berating the guy who I think has been our best player for years and years. But for the sake of answering your question as best I can on this pod, I think it was a great sub from Mikel. I think it really sent a message for him to be the first sub, for it to be as early as it did, and off the back of the performance he gave us. I don't care what other people are earning in the world. I don't. Madueke didn't choose his transfer fee, nor did Kai Havertz. But Bukayo Saka, Kai Havertz and others agreed to a particular salary and a particular role and standing by wearing the armband or whatever in the Arsenal team. And if you are not playing well, to still be able to hook that kind of player, I think sends a big message. Mm-hmm. And for us now, I think we are allowed to start to turn the dial and expect a little bit more of certain players, and he's one of them. Now, I actually have been defending Saka a lot this season. Wolves at home, I thought he was great. That was before he kind of had his moments and helped us win that game. I thought Everton away, he was brilliant, didn't get enough credit. Fulham away, I think there's been actually Tottenham away recently. I think there's been lots of performances where he went under the radar because he didn't get a goal or assist or whatever. So I've really defended him a lot this season. But we're nearly a year on from the hamstring surgery. We are now into his second or third big contract, but certainly the biggest one he's got now. And we're in crunch time. I don't think Arteta's game model gets the best out of him or any of the attackers. I think this is more a management and coaching thing. But Saka was getting the basics wrong. He was running into traffic. His passes were poor. His decision-making was shocking. Every attack died with him. Or every time the ball and the attack went to him, it died. And I think subbing him off was great. And I love Saka, and he should start the next game, and he's going to be huge for us this season. I still back him. But I think that was really important from Mikel, and I'm glad he did it.
I think that's really well said. I also think, you know, you can't... Bro, Vinny Jr. gets subbed. Yamal gets subbed. Like, Haaland gets subbed. Haaland doesn't play certain games. Like that. You have to accept there are games that aren't for everyone, necessarily. I would say almost everyone in world football right now, there's probably games that don't quite suit you. I can't see anyone who suits absolutely every single moment of every single game.
Yeah.
And also, I completely agree in terms of the contract. I think what's happened is because we have this kind of paternal love for Saka, we've seen him grow
100%.
up. We have this like protectionism. 100% I'm guilty of it, like protectionism and like, you know, not justifying bad performances, because I don't think performance-wise it's been particularly bad, but the output hasn't been good enough for a guy we're putting on that kind of money and giving that many shots and chances to. In the like what the problem is I'll go look at all the touches in the box and the expected assists and the expected goals. He's performing really well. Okay, well that has to translate into goals. It has to translate into assists. And I think, and there's so many mitigating circumstances, but I think your point around like when we give you that contract, you have to accept that you're one of the best paid players in the Premier League, one of the best paid players in the world. You're representing Arsenal. If you're not performing, we have the right to hook you. I don't think Saka would be like...
I don't think you disagree with this.
He'd be like, yeah, first.
He's handled everything in his career, every bit of pressure.
I think it will spur him on.
Yeah, everything that, you know, things started to go wrong for him early with the penalty miss for England, with Arsenal falling short time and time again, with the penalty miss at West Ham, with, you know, he is come through frustration. He's lost finals for England. Like, he's not lost them for them. He's lost finals with them.
Wow.
Bad choice of words. He's lost finals with England. You know, he's had adversity.
Yeah.
And he's got the most unbelievable kind of like mental strength, relentlessness. And it's interesting. I actually have a slightly different take from you. I can actually forgive the lack of output because I think right now, you know, he's getting the ball on the touchline and he probably has to run. No player on the pitch probably looks up and sees more players in front of him than Bukayo Saka does. When he gets the ball, he's got the fullback or the wing back, probably someone coming across, maybe a centre-back covering too. And if you get past them, then everybody else is drowned out and you've got into the most condensed area of the pitch. So I can actually appreciate, I can forgive it. I think what I'm saying.
The reason I would push back against that is I think it's easy to analyse what we've seen.
Yeah.
And go, well, this is what the situation that he's in and what could he do in this situation? My argument would be, can there be more times where he's not even putting himself in that situation? Where can he get past his man a bit more? Because I completely understand what people are saying. So he's stuck out on the touchline, he's doing all that sort of stuff. Yeah, but I think he's got the license to come inside. I think he has the...
Do you think?
He's put in situations, not last night, but in many situations where he's not beating his man. That's happening this season. It's 1v1. He's not putting the ball into the box. Also, there's been a number of times where he's got into the penalty area. I think he's delaying his shot, learning something off Gabriel Jesus. Thank you so much. So I understand people could go, yeah, but and I hear what you're saying, but I sometimes when I watched Elise for Bayern Munich, different player, but the efficiency and movement to set himself up for certain actions, to get himself into positions to score, to assist, is the skill. And this is the thing, and I'll criticise Gyökeres for all the stuff he does outside of his touches that means when he gets his touches, he is in unfavourable positions. I think sometimes Saka's not doing enough to help himself get into favourable positions to do that. So I understand what you're saying, but I think sometimes he's put in those unfavourable positions by himself. And sometimes by the system, but I think we have to be fair. Yeah,
and but then also to defend him, I still think that Arteta and his kind of prioritising the attack, platform the attack isn't great. I still think that I'm starting to think as well, the demands on Premier League players at the moment, Bukayo Saka is part of a team that is going far in all competitions, every single game, every single week is a slog. I'm a real casual when it comes to European football. I can say with real confidence, barely watching the Bundesliga, that Bayern Munich are not worked as hard as we are on a week-to-week basis. Yeah. We also know that they're not playing as many games because there's less teams in the league. We also know that they have one cup less. So what does that do for this part of the season? So maybe Elise makes everything look more efficient because
100%.
Because he's also able to a little bit more. Mm-hmm. Maybe if Bukayo Saka went to play in Germany, it'd be different. I wonder whether that would be the case.
And if I had to weight where I put the individual versus the collective and the context, it would be like 80% context and collective. Mm-hmm. But I just think maybe 6 months ago I would have gone 95.
Sure.
And now I'm starting to be like, I think there's a bit more Saka can do to help us a little bit.
There were moments in the Leverkusen game, and I think that's where the frustration was. Unless you had a different take, I didn't think he was doubled up on that much. I think there was quite a lot of space in that game. I thought there were options for passes. There was opportunities for him to just drop the shoulder and get shots off. I felt like the game was there for him to do that. And I think that was proven by Martinelli, who for the first hour I thought was terrible. Mm. Last 20, 30 minutes, I thought came to life and was creating things for us. And I think, Madueke came on as well. I think they kind of showed, like what we were seeing was right. Like it is there for you to do it. Go do it. And so I think that's why we were frustrated.
Let's look at the board. Look, I don't know about you, but I could have come on here and done the post-Wolves analysis where it's the five at the back and we're not... I have a big problem with the way we constantly play outside shapes, especially against five at the back. I want to do a little bit of a deep dive into this about us playing against wing-back systems. I think we're poor against them. Yeah. I'm thinking through Sunderland and teams like that, Wolves. But yeah, there's something there. Our lack of carry and this insistence to keep passing round the block and passing in, out, round the sides or whatever. Someone just pick up the ball and carry and move the shape in a different way. That frustrates me. But we've said that a million times. So I have something about Eza that I want to say, but I know you've got something to say as well.
We've been talking about Saka a lot. I'm getting concerned about this guy, Zubimendi.
Yes.
I'd love your opinion on this. I don't know how I'm going to illustrate this. I'm going to just kind of make it up. Let's just imagine we're in build-up. You're moving players up the pitch. Something like I don't know, something like this. Okay, the centre-back split. Raya's got the ball. I'm worried that Zubimendi is just basically like not involved in the game at the moment, and I'm not really sure. He's not really sort of dictating the tempo for us. I think he's covering a lot of ground, and I give him credit for that. But otherwise, I feel like he's almost acting like a bit of a decoy. like a bit of a, basically, I'm just going to keep moving and others are going to benefit from that, even though it looks like I'm not really doing anything. And I'm really hoping that's what it is, because so often I'm seeing things like, I don't know, Zubimendi might pull this way and, the marker goes with him, and naturally Rice then comes into that space, receives the ball, and we've basically opened up the game. And then, Rice might then carry a little bit more into that space, as they might drift left. I don't know, I felt we looked quite fluid in build-up yesterday against Leverkusen. I actually felt that there was a degree of invention from this defensive third to the middle third. I didn't even think we played badly. I don't actually think Arsenal played that badly against Leverkusen in general. But the whole time, apart from running around, getting stuck in a bit, and I appreciate that, I didn't really know what Zubimendi was bringing to the game. And I kept thinking, well, every time we are building out, it feels like it's going through Declan Rice. I haven't even checked the stats or the pass maps. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just looked away at the wrong times. I don't know, but that's just how it felt to me. And I just wonder whether he's playing this bit of a decoy role, or he's in poor form and actually he's struggling to get on the ball here and just spray passes and run the game for us. His lack of doing that is a bit of a problem. And I would love to know, because I know Arteta always lies, I would love to know a genuine, honest answer from Mikel. Are you really happy with what you're getting from Zubimendi right now? Is this the Havertz equivalent of movement, space invading, the Raumdeuter, I'm doing things off the ball you can't notice and everyone's benefiting from it? If he is, well, like I said, with the football earlier and everything, I don't care. Cool, just win us the league. But I can't help but feel like there's a really talented... What's the word you used for Jorginho? He was...
Regista.
Yeah, there's another one. Regista.
Uncle?
Metronome. Metronome?
Yeah.
Yeah, uncle, sure. I feel like we've got a player, and I think there's very few of them in the game now, actually, of that quality, and we're not getting the best out of him. What are your thoughts on that?
Essentially, I agree. And I think this is linked, and Zubimendi's role, the way I've described it, it's almost like it's being blurred at the moment with Rice, and it feels like him and Rice are essentially doing a lot of the kind of decoy work deep, a lot of the sort of it's doing a lot of this, which leaves Eze as the spare man. Eze, and I watched this in the Bayer Leverkusen game, it felt like we've got the back, we've got the players at the back at the minute in terms of Zubimendi, Rice, Timber, Saliba, and Gabriel, for that security. And this is, again, I think a lot of this comes from Mikel wanting these players deep. So, to not be counted on or whatever it might be for the spacing and build up, etc. Eze then becomes a spare man. But what happens is we do the classic up, back and through. So we go to Eze, he receives the ball, and then he's expected to do both the back and the through. What it should be is he should have a midfield partner to do the back and through with, to play a 1-2 off, so Eze can carry on with, to play maybe he's dropped out here, maybe Rice has dropped out here. But what's happened so often is Zubimendi and Rice have been these decoys deep, or they've been passing deep, or they've been trying to get round a press. So you've basically committed a couple of players. Eze's overloaded in the midfield with especially yesterday up against the two, and he's been asked to do too much. So I think it's not necessarily just what Zubimendi is doing in this sort of decoy, constantly running around, not really receiving the ball role. It's the impact on it further up. How do we fix this? If Mikel was willing to be a little bit braver, and let's just say having Zubimendi, as you mentioned earlier, as the pivot, the person who goes, he's going to say, I'm just going to say to Zubimendi, you be the guy. I'm going to trust you between Saliba, Timber and Nkapie or whatever. You're going to be able to get the ball forward for me. Once he'd done that pivot work, committed someone, got that ball forward into Rice and Eze, we've now got a 2v2 in the midfield. We've now got a carrier and a guy who can play the ball forward at pace. I think also, just another point I wanted to make on the Eze thing, even if Eze did receive it, let's say they've done all the nice decoy work and Eze does receive it here with back to goal, often what happens is the players are wide, so the pass goes wide, they recover, whatever. If we were able to get Saka and Martinelli inside, we could have those combinations. But again, I think probably due to this risk thing, he wants to keep them high and wide to stretch the defence because he doesn't want them to connect him in that way. It's all safety first is the point, and it's frustrating. It's frustrating to watch, but to some degree, we've covered this many times. It's just another string to the bow of conservatism that Mikel has.
The more times Liverpool lose at Galatasaray, the more 3-0 defeats for Man City, the more 5-2s here and there for our rivals, the more being conservative is just going to start to look a bit smarter. If Arsenal look like a team that have the energy going into April and May, where others look exhausted, then we might look back at these months where we haven't been inspiring and go, well, that's maybe why we were in second and third give so much of it, because ultimately these are human beings. Like, they don't just recharge on a battery. They have to keep playing, they have to keep going mentally and physically. Now, I'm saying all this almost to kind of have it on record that I'm acknowledging this if and when we do it all, because I don't want to complain the whole way, and then when it's done, I'm there popping champagne at the parade, like, yay, knew we were going to do it.
I'll be doing that.
It's like, well, no, but because I've done my complaint, but it gets to a point where I'm, it's like I said earlier, okay, so Zubimendi, I agree he's struggling, Bukayo Saka, does Salah and McAllister look good?
Yeah.
How many players of Zubimendi's, Rodri, I think, look really neat on the ball, but they run all over him off the ball.
Mm-hmm.
There comes a point where I hate doing this. Were you ever at school and I used to think it was so bad, it speaks of my mentality, but like, if I did badly in a test, badly, right? But the class average was worse than me, there comes a point where I go, well, maybe we haven't been taught very well, or the test was really hard.
Mate, 100%.
And I think there's an element of that in
common
life, a
denominator
little
stuff.
bit. It's like, well, okay, yes, you're trying to be better than the rest, but you also have to look around you. And I think it's different when Man City are only 2 points behind you, they've won 5 games in a row, they're playing really good football, and you start to go, well, so that football is kind of working. But when the gap's kind of increased again, they've just lost 3-0 to this Madrid side. I can recite all those results again. There just comes a point where I go, everyone else's homework.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, we took a draw back to the Emirates.
100%. And, maybe we're an Arsenal podcast, we're having a conversation about Arsenal, but these issues, I was speaking about this week in the Premier League. If everyone's doing a man-for-man press, if Brighton are pressing the league leaders off the park, which would never have happened 15 years ago, wouldn't have happened 5 years ago. Like, the team in 12th are pressing man-for-man the league leaders. That's what's going on, because the physical level and the technical level has hit a point. That tells you football is at a certain vogue. Something 100%. Needs to break it, and it could be a quality thing, it could be a carry thing. I don't. There's far smarter people out there than me. But you're so right that, like, when that sort of stuff is happening, you can't just look at your own team and go, this is an Arsenal problem. You have to look out and go, I think there's something more here.
I think it's a quality thing. I think if Pep Guardiola had those Barcelona players of 2009, there's no way he's adapting to the league right now. There's no way he's going, oh, but we need a bit more physicality, but Busquets probably needs a bit of power next to him. He's going Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets. It doesn't matter what anyone brings. They can't touch you. I think the quality's not there.
The interesting... I don't know. And I really struggle to compare across eras, because I always think, like...
It's very difficult,
so hard.
I agree.
But what I do think you're onto something there in terms of that sort of player isn't being produced at English academies and Spanish academies, because of the level, because of where the game is.
Yeah.
If you're 15 now, they're saying to you, get on the treadmill, mate. Be Valverde, because then you can go and do that, and that's useful. They're not saying to you, right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot. Doesn't matter how big you are.
Versatility.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, but I wonder whether the vogue always shifts, right? Something will come around, and I think we'll keep some of the physical aspects of this. But I wonder whether I hope the next shift is technical, and I also think it could be a carrying thing. Ball carriers, dribblers coming back.
I want flair back, man. I want excitement.
Because we're breaking blocks. We're trying to break these ridiculously tight physical mid blocks. What is the way you do it? Morgan Rogers shooting from distance. Can't see that being, unless you get a whole wave of guys who are just unbelievable shooting from outside the box. Feels unlikely, and then goalkeepers would adapt. I think it's dribblers, properly incredible dribblers, 1v1 dribblers. Who are the most exciting players watching world football right now? Elise, Yamal, Shirky, those guys who can dribble past you. Doesn't matter what block you put up. Doesn't matter whether you high press me or sit in a mid block or a deep block. I can dribble past you.
Yeah.
That, I hope, is where the game's going, but it will take a little while to catch up, because all the players at the minute are going to be adapted to what this Premier League is and what the league is, and what the football is.
You need a degree of undeniable talent. Yamal's one of them. I hope Max Dowman can be that.
Yeah, you could be.
know, basically players that essentially managers go, I have to play that person. I just have to get them on that pitch. It doesn't matter where the game's going. It doesn't matter what the balance of the team needs or whatever. I fundamentally have to get that player on the pitch. And I think it's been a while since we've had like that many players in the game that are kind of at that level. When we talk about the best midfielders in the world, we used to say Kroos, Modric, Xavi, Iniesta, Fabregas, Gerrard. We're talking. I'm not saying they're bad players, but who are we talking about right now? Genuinely,
what I find
Pedri's sensational.
Yeah, there's a few. There's always going to be a few. It's just what's the vogue. I wonder. I just had a thought. The exciting young players in like 2010. Am I mad to think a lot of it was like Hector Bellerin, pace? Let's just say at Arsenal, the exciting young players from like 2000 to 2015 were like basically were physical things. They were pace or size or like how much they could run, like Theo Walcott, like that.
Gareth Bale, power.
It was all. It was all the exciting young players were all that kind of. Oh my God, these guys can run so much faster than you that it actually doesn't matter that they haven't got left foot or right foot, whatever it is. I hope the next exciting group of young players are all going to be the technique is off the charts. So yes, they can run at the level of the game, or maybe they can't, but it doesn't matter because their technique is the thing. That
I don't know.
I don't know
because again, we're going to disagree, and I'm just going to have to be cut.
God, we'll get ready.
I think that era was actually more defined by tech, like Juan Mata, Cazorla, Ozil.
In the prime players, but I'm saying the guys who were breaking into the game and changing the game. Maybe I need to go and like have a think about who I actually mean by this.
I don't know. I'm a complete casual when it comes to all this, if I'm really honest. But
I wonder whether the vogue of like 2010s Spain, whatever, like the technical play. Like I'm thinking back to who were the exciting young players, who were the guys changing the game in the same way like I think like a Yamal or a Dalman could now, because of where the game was. It was very technical. So if you can be more pace and power, you can change the game. But are we reaching a point where pace and power doesn't change the game anymore? So you have to go back to technicality. I don't know.
I don't know. I really hope everything goes through cycles. We're now in an era that we thought we'd completely left behind in the Premier League. Everyone thought, well, no one's ever going to stop playing out the back and play a 4-3-3 and invert the fullbacks. No one's going to stop doing that because it's entertaining, and at the very least, look at the managers that have been getting jobs despite getting relegated because of the football they played. So I think we thought that we were never going to leave that, but we did because results are ultimately what it's about. So the league will keep changing. I'm hopeful that I don't think they will be, or Saka will be. I don't know if Ødegaard will be here in 2-3 years, but it wouldn't surprise me if basically Ødegaard continued to be a touch disappointing, not quite at it for almost another year. But then there's just a point at which, he's back. Yeah. It just wouldn't surprise me if the game just evolved again. Yeah. Or maybe he goes abroad somewhere else and he rediscovers a certain form and he's killing it in Europe. And it just wouldn't surprise me. I think there's so many great coaches, there's so many great players. I've just been saying the quality's down, but I almost think like there's less of the real mercurial, special generational talents. But almost the bar, the floor, has come up massively. There's more data than ever. There's more research and analysis. I just wonder whether, I don't know, the game will sort of turn around again.
It has to. It has to. For my eyeballs, to some degree.
Yeah, it's been difficult. I'll be honest. But I think we have this with sports all the time, and things always change. There's always another story. People always wondered, well, what comes after Federer, Nadal, and Djokovic? Now there's two players on the tour, in Sinner and Alcaraz, if you're not a tennis fan, that some people are saying they might be even better. And the reason they're saying that, I don't think that, but the reason they're saying that is because these guys have benefited from even more sports science, even more better nutritional advice, even more. So now they're playing to a different, maybe even a different level to that. So everything will constantly evolve. For everything that footballers are gaining in terms of, sports science and data and all that, I think they're losing in terms of they're not playing on bobbly pitches as much, some of them. They're playing in great academies on carpets. Part of the learning was you're getting the ball booted at you in the rain. It might get caught in the mud or it might bounce off a stone, and you've got to look after that somehow. And I just wonder whether that developed a certain technical player that we don't have now. But then I think England are producing players like Elliot Anderson, like Adam Wharton, that have been dreaming for us to produce. And before we had much more, there was the odd Carrick, and I'm not saying Gerrard and Lampard couldn't play, but they were obviously better, but they weren't that type of player. So I have no idea.
Just to round this up, I think where we go in the midfield might be instructive. If we go for more like an Elliot Anderson, I don't know who it would be, that tells me where the club thinks the game's going.
He's saying Arsenal in particular?
Yeah. And if they go for an Adam Wharton, that tells me where the club thinks the game's going.
Who do you want?
Who do I prefer?
Who would you, Alex Moneypenny, sign as Arsenal manager?
Adam Wharton.
Yeah, me too.
Because I think that passing quality is undeniable.
Yeah.
Forget blocks, forget physicality. And also where I hope the game is going is back to these technicians running the show.
Yeah, I agree.
I really hope it does go that way, and that's why I'd sign Adam Wharton. But if the club sign Elliot Anderson, that tells you they think there's more physical levels to go, because I think he's more that way.
Yeah.
We'll do our best qualities of our forwards.
So cool fun.
To finish. It's a good chat.
Yeah, and I have to be honest, it's one I'm pretty uninformed in, but
it's fine, but it doesn't. We're speculating.
Yeah.
If being fully informed was a prerequisite, I wouldn't be here. So don't worry.
None of us would. No,
You can't, and that's also why I find people are like, it's like we're all. But if you think you can be across every single game, match, league, story in football, you're kidding yourself.
I have to be honest.
You're kidding yourself. And you're lying.
I feel at the moment I'm in a state of I don't know about football. So I've kind of been more uncertain about the game than I've ever been.
But that, for me, produces trust in a creator.
Well, that's sweet of you.
In being like, oh, okay, we're not just going to be like, this.
Yeah, maybe. Or maybe I'm not as informed as I should be, but I genuinely am feeling like I don't know. I don't know where the game is going. I don't know what the tactics are about. I don't know how Pedri stacks up to these other players. I don't know if Pedri could be a Xavi or Iniesta, but the current climate of football is ruining that, or whether he's just not as good, hence the climate of football's gone that way. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. Like
South Africa changed you.
Yeah. No, I think Arsenal being on for a quadruple and putting me to sleep twice a week.
Yeah, it's such a bizarre
has completely changed how I see life. not football, life.
Life. You can have everything you want and still not be happy.
Yeah.
Ain't that the truth, Will? You can be in an amazing job, and still not happy, and still complain about it.
Like prerequisite of a job. Like don't you have to get paid for it to be considered a job?
Don't get cheeky with me, son.
My word.
This is still an internship.
Oh my word! He just accused you live.
I'm
on
paying
TDK
him an
Plus.
experience.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That you appreciate that, don't you? The exposure.
Yeah. The great. Yeah, it's wonderful.
Will come work for me, and you can be a guest on the Gooniverse podcast.
Wow.
Yeah, sure, it costs too much. Yeah, we'll make something happen, man. No worries. I'm not here to take you for a ride like this guy.
We're going to finish by rating the best qualities of our forwards, James. We've done this for every other part of the team. We haven't done it yet for our forwards, something we started in the first ever
doing
episode
off this season
of the Knockabout. No, they're just their best qualities. James, I feel like you started this podcast in a great sort of positive mood.
No.
And I've drained it out of you.
No,
I'm
it's
so
like,
sorry.
I think I'm just so tired. I think it's... let's just do it.
We're going to bring some positives.
Let's just do it.
We're going to bring some positives. We're going to remind ourselves why our forwards are good. Starting with Gabriel Jesus. No, let's not go there. Starting with Saka.
Relentlessness.
Saka's best quality.
His relentlessness, which I think ties into his mentality. He never, ever, ever stops. I think that's so underrated. I think that is such an underrated element. That and his right foot. To be so good with your right foot. But I think it's his mentality and relentlessness.
I think I'd go something like decision making. It does feel like he's on like autopilot in the best way in a lot of games where he's just making the correct decision.
Yeah, decision making is a good one. Didn't see that against Leverkusen, but yes, it's a good one.
Yeah. Could be his mentality. You know, I told you about that play I saw last time, and the only bit I teared up at was watching the actor playing Saka, miss the penalty and his penalty technique. But it was really, to come back from that He was 19. And he missed, like, bro, I get nervous for, like, Zoom calls. Do you know what I mean?
It was awful. It was... to
come back from that.
Being half Italian, I didn't care who won that final. I was sort of almost leaning towards Italy just for the sake of it. And genuinely. And I think the England fans were annoying me throughout the tournament. I don't know why. Maybe because we hosted so much of it. But when he missed, I was like, tournament ruined. Tournament ruined. Because I'm always Arsenal before England or Italy. And so for me, I was like, well, yeah, no, great. It's all for nothing. I didn't enjoy any of this.
Would you rather England win the World Cup, or like every single player at Arsenal has an unbelievable tournament? Like, it's the story of the tournament that Arsenal absolutely took over the World Cup.
No, I'd rather England won the World Cup. But I've been asked this when it comes to Arsenal's individual success. And I get ripped for this, and I might get ripped for this again, but please understand the context. I would rather Arsenal won silverware. Mm-hmm. Like, even like an FA Cup over England winning a World Cup. Now, some people think that is absolutely mental, and I've had that thrown at me. But people need to understand, I'm half English, half Italian. I'm not... I already go into the tournament supporting two teams, albeit Italy haven't made the last few. But every Euros tour and World Cup, I've sort of got this sense of, I want you to win, and whatever. Secondly, I work following Arsenal. Like, I love Arsenal. I moved my career towards wanting to cover this team all day, every day. And I experienced Italy winning the World Cup in 2006. It was one of my earliest football memories. It doesn't feel like... I've never seen Arsenal win the Premier League or the Champions League. I don't have that craving for it.
I'd definitely go Arsenal win the Premier League or Champions League over.
But I think even the Cups, I mean, it sounds cheeky as hell saying the Carabao Cup. I don't feel that connected to international football, personally.
We need to watch some games in some beer gardens together. That's what needs to happen. Us three.
Yeah. I'm sure... You said the other week I'm worried about getting clipped up. That's what I'm worried about getting clipped up for. Because some people just, England and their country and their nation will be everything. But that's fine. But I'm 50% that.
Yeah, you're not. You're also, like, it's your choice. Like, you do whatever. But I do think the vibe of a World Cup, the vibes of Arsenal winning the Premier League or Champions League would be way better. Arsenal winning like a Carabao Cup compared to England winning the World Cup, the vibes would be...
well, that's unquestionable, but
would be great.
I'm just looking for Arsenal vibes. But I agree with that, obviously. The country would be amazing. By the way, I want England to win the World Cup. People are going to go, so you don't want England to win it? No, I do.
People accuse you of being like racist or something.
I would like Arsenal to win everything, and then England to win the World Cup, and then Declan Rice to win the Ballon d'Or. That's what I'd like.
On Mikel Merino. Gabriel Jesus. Tough one right now.
I feel for him, man. He's had.
Wait, what's Gabriel Jesus' best quality? Deferring to you.
It's got a cool name.
Wow. I think humility. Think about it. He was someone who was, playing a bit for Man City, winning titles, came to a side that weren't in the Champions League because he believed in the process, joined Arsenal, works incredibly hard. It's the thing that he's been tagged by Arteta and Guardiola as being the presser, like the hard worker. He'll play on the right, he'll play on the left, and he'll do every job without complaining. And then when he's put on the bench, he'll still come on and give his all. He lacks quality. I think the knee injuries have killed him, if I'm honest. But I think his kind of humility to kind of just keep going and do what's asked of him is what I respect the most about him.
Yeah. Hard work. I'm finding him hard to watch at the minute. That's why
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
He's a tough watch right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think across his Arsenal career, we had a hot take on our Rip My Take episode. Someone said Eddie Nketiah has done more for Arsenal than Gabriel Jesus. And I was like,
no.
From a trophy longevity, like I didn't agree in the end, but I was like, when I first heard it, I was like, nah. But then I was like,
no. I get the logic, but no.
Eza,
just like ball striking, right and left foot, and I don't think we maximised that at all.
Edge of the box.
Yeah,
he is a killer.
Yeah.
That Mansfield goal, like, if we could get him in more of those positions, free, you could almost build a team around that. It's that good of a quality.
Look at his Palace goals just last season. Not even every Palace goal, last season.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's brilliant.
I think back to what we were talking about earlier, like, if he's supported more with options closer to him centrally, even Havertz, who can drop in and combine with him a bit more, I think he explodes. It's just the minute, like, Gyökeres, it's not his game. He can't do that combination work in the centre where Eze needs him.
Do you know, I think it's weird that last season when Ødegaard got injured, Arteta made a point of going quite 4-4-2, moving Havertz more to the right, Trossard more. They always plays like a front two. And I'm thinking, why wouldn't you do that with Eze and Havertz? I feel like they're I mean, don't get me wrong, I complained about it. I didn't really love it, but I don't know.
I also think as a second striker, more as a second striker, can float with Havertz ahead of him.
Yeah.
Or as a two, or as just a plain two who kind of work off each other.
Oh God, we're in the attack right now.
Yeah.
Think of the things we are trying to put forward.
Eze striker.
Yeah. Havertz and a floating
I love
striker
what
role.
I kept seeing like a couple of months ago was like Waneri false nine, and I was like, the thing is that I don't necessarily hate the take, but sometimes you have to do that thing you said earlier, like just take a step back. You're suggesting to fix the title challenging Arsenal's attack, who just spent 200 million. You're suggesting an academy kid playing in a position he doesn't play, and they're like, it's obviously the answer. I'm like, maybe, but.
When I watched what Luis Enrique did with PSG, I envisaged, what would he do with this Arsenal side? Man, he'd have a front three. He'd put Saka down the middle. He'd make him his Dembele. He'd be like, you're good off both feet. You can drift left and right. You know, we're going to get you central because you can score goals and you work really hard. That honestly think he'd play Saka up front. And then he'd have Waneri out on the wing. You know, just sort of moving on the inside, drifting out wide, taking players on. You know, he'd love Dalman, he'd have Madueke, he'd have Trossard floating, he'd have Eze floating as well, and he'd have them just buzzing around, and he'd have a midfield three of technicians. You know, obviously Rice would be in there with Zubimendi and Ødegaard. Yeah. And I just think, I would love to see that. I would love to see where we move beyond actually all of Havertz, Gyökeres and Jesus and moved more towards that type of...
Yeah.
But...
That's a really good,
But we're
what
not
would Luis Enrique's Arsenal team look like?
But we won't.
I think he'd go, Madueke, Eze, Saka as a front three.
Something like that.
And he'd give Saka license to go to the left and come back to the centre and probably go to the right as well. Madueke in the centre as well.
He'd have a fluid front three.
Yeah, it'd just be...
Yeah. But anyway, that's not what
Martinelli.
Work rate.
Defensive work rate, specifically.
Yeah, and you know it's like
Never
underrated.
falters.
He's also brilliant at it. Not just, he runs a lot, he tries hard. No, he's not good because he tries the hardest. He's an incredibly intelligent defensive player, which is really fun to watch.
For our number 11.
But he is.
From Sao Paulo.
But he is.
We've got a number 11 from Sao Paulo. We've ended up being like, this defensive work rate, honestly.
Someone got mad at me because I said he was like closer to James Milner than he was. Someone got really mad at me. And I was like, but he is. He's right now. And maybe that's the state of football and it will evolve and he will look like a flary, brilliant Brazilian winger again.
Gyökeres. His
channel
shot.
running. You're right. It's just striking.
Yeah. When he gets the ball out of his feet between the goalposts, he's scoring.
Yeah, I agree. On we move.
It's just he doesn't do that.
When you roll that ball in front of goal and I'm on the goal line, I put it away.
Honestly, mate, 0.99.
I put that away.
99 times out of 100, I score.
And I think if you played to my strengths, I could be the answer. Sounds so harsh. I actually like it.
If you gave me a penalty every single game,
probably
score you at least 24 penalties.
I wouldn't. I'd bottle every one. Are you kidding me?
No, but you'd score over half.
No, you wouldn't. I honestly think...
In the Premier League?
No, I think if me and you took a penalty in the Premier League, if we took 30 Premier League penalties, I think we score like 2 or 3. Genuinely.
No.
Yeah, genuinely.
How many? I reckon more than that, but I think you're probably underestimating how good Premier League penalty takers are at disguising which way they're going.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I'd need a bit of...
I saw a YouTube video, like, this was ages ago, like Ben Foster was doing a video on his channel against someone, it was probably one of the sidemen or something, and he, like, saved everyone, because, like, or at least he went the right way every time, because he could just instantly read, like, oh, well, it's so obvious. Like,
Yeah. And we don't have the power, we don't have the accuracy of placement.
Yeah.
I said 2 or 3, I actually don't know if we'd score. We might score 1 because the keeper's just gone the wrong way.
But you've been playing to my strengths.
Well, yeah.
Don't blame me. Play to my strengths.
Exactly.
1 penalty in 38. Trossard. He does not lose the ball. His ball retention is really good.
Yeah, sure. I like that one. Yeah.
Like, if you give him the ball, not saying he's going to do anything with it, but he won't lose it.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I also quite enjoy his... I quite enjoy his... I keep using the word mentality, but I mean it in loads of different ways. I really think he treats 15th at home the same as
Yes.
he treats the Champions League final.
Similar to Ben White.
I think he rolls out of bed, 4 hours sleep, and he treats it exactly the same. Just goes, all right, let's go.
Him and his dad referee. 2 more. Madueke and Havertz.
Madueke is a brilliant one-on-one player, isn't he? Like, he is so good at beating the fullback.
His stride, we noticed it on the very first scout we did. George spoke about it, and he's bang on. Like, his stride length is like 1 step is like to that door. It's crazy.
He has to do less to go further, it feels.
Yeah.
Havertz, I can't say mentality again. Do you know, I think we all laughed at this at the time when we signed and whatever, but as time's gone on, I actually think we can really appreciate like his movement and his intelligence, and I think he must be a coach's dream.
I think he is exactly where you need him to be at all times.
Yeah.
That does occasionally make him predictable, but like if you're playing a long ball to him, he'll be there. If you need a reference, he'll be there. If you're struggling with a fullback on this side, he'll drop in to help you. Like he's really good at that. And he's a real presence in the box. Like he's a proper presence. His finishing isn't that great, but if we're talking about, box presence and, moving defenders around, he does have that.
Yeah.
It's just his finishing isn't top class.
Yeah.
I was quite like Havertz as well.
He's really grown on me.
Yeah.
Like in the last few years since we signed him. At first I sort of thought, come on mate, like, it's just sometimes it's little things that are so unbelievably unimportant, you're being so stupidly petty, just bother you. And it's just little things like the shirt's too big for you. Like the shirt's too big for you.
Yeah.
And your touch isn't great and you're just passing it sideways. Like give me some personality. There's space, you're not running into it.
Yeah.
And actually, I think what started to change my mind on him was celebrating against Chelsea with those goals and also pushing the Porto manager. Yeah. Because I started to watch him in that run-in in that season, I thought, you're almost playing the game the way the fans would want to play it.
Yeah.
Almost like, you were talking in the week, so I'm just going to push you when I get an opportunity.
Yeah.
And
He's got that
this
streak
guy's
about him.
winding me up, so I'm just going to leave a little on him. And he's kind of quite clever with the dark arts. But I've started to appreciate him more in terms of, I know he's barely played actually in the last year, but even towards the end of 2024, scoring against PSG, things like that, the goal against Southampton, I just started to see him not literally fill out the shirt, but actually like just look like he belonged a little bit more. But I don't think it was ever like a great change in like fire and attitude or whatever. I think he just felt more comfortable, and I started to appreciate the kind of lackadaisical, I'm a bit, whatever, I'm just going to do my job kind of nature he has about playing the game.
I think that a lot of it is to do with his size. You ever seen someone who's 6'5"?
Oh, they're massive.
Have you seen them? Yeah.
Well,
have you seen
I've
them
seen
run?
him in the flesh. I mean, he's huge.
But you ever watch in real life, watch someone 6'5" run?
No.
It's a sight to behold. It's like it's not like me and you. Like,
No.
what are we, 5'11" kings? What are you?
I think I do well to crack 5'9", if I'm honest.
What are you?
5'10".
Well, so I'm the tallest here with my massive willy in this big dick competition.
Is that extra inch not just like the curly bits on top?
Yeah, it's just the pubes.
Yeah.
This won't make it. Yeah. Biggest ego as well.
God. All right.
James, we'll finish there.
Yep.
How you feeling?
shattered. It's only 2 hours ahead, South Africa. We're jet lagged. Feel exhausted.
Do you remember anything that happened just now?
No, not really. I'm so interested to see. I'm going to the Everton game on the weekend, and I'll be back heading every ball, clearing every ball, like claiming every throw in, looking at the lineup super early. I'll be doing everything the way I had been kind of pre going away, and I'm so interested to see whether I feel differently. I don't know whether I've really got to a state of acceptance of the football we play, and I'm just going to ride it out and try and enjoy this, or whether just sometimes taking one eye off it can help.
And hilariously, I'll be in Italy with my mother.
Lovely.
So we should maybe I'll voice note you after the game, and I'll be like,
will you be able to watch the game?
Man, it's fine. Like bits, yeah.
That's what I mean. Just see.
You'll be like, Alex, we're going to lose everything. I'm like, dude, chill.
I just wonder.
Basically, go on holiday. That's what James is saying.
Well, no, but just distract yourself. Don't watch.
From the
if
pain.
the football is that anxiety-inducing, don't watch it super clearly. Even the Leverkusen game, I watched with my girlfriend over £1 wings. It was Wing Wednesday.
Yeah, nice.
So I was watching it, and I was taking in every moment, and we were barely talking because the game was on. But the buffalo sauce was really good.
Yeah.
And obviously that took a little bit of my attention.
Yeah.
Normally I can't eat during Arsenal games. I'm like, no, I'm stressed. I'm focused on the game.
I actively ask people not. Someone was like, "Oh, do you want to watch the game together?" And I'm like,
"Yeah,
not really," because I want to be in my little anxiety bubble for an hour and 20 minutes.
I had the same for the Chelsea game. I was on TalkSport for that, and because there was other things to chat about, again, I was just distracted enough. Maybe that makes me a worse analyst. Maybe that makes me worse at my job. But it's making it all a lot more stomachable.
Yeah.
I think let's just accept that this is how we play.
Just who we are, mate.
We're playing on the margins.
Just who we are.
And we are trying to close the game a little bit so that we can keep more control, whereas others are trying to open up their horizons, their potential, their possibilities, but it's biting them on the arse a lot more than it's biting us.
It's just who we are, mate. Just who we are.
To dare is to poo.
To dare is to poo. Thank you, William.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, James.
Yeah, no worries, man. I just don't know what I did the last hour. Here we are.
Thank you so much for watching. And thanks for keeping it Arsenal!
Tens of thousands of football fans came to Highbury. This was one kind of queue the ladies thoroughly enjoyed.
Electrifying. Electrifying.